Greetings, fellow leaders. You are welcome to section 2 of our master guide class. Okay, so we looked at section 1, which is the Christian Church through the ages, where we covered all the 8 churches. Okay, now in this section we're going to look at Heralds of the Advent message. Heralds of the Advent message. Vaja vantu vamene zopereka utenga, wenzo preaching utenga wakubwera kwa Yesu Kristu kwa chivili. Okay? So time period yametizanga napo ni 1755 to 1843. 1755 to 1843. Okay? So the specific outcomes, what you need to know after this lesson. Number 1, you need to know 4 things, because this is these are the things that we're going to look at. Then when we look at these 4 things, we'll be done with section 2. The first thing is the 3 spectacular signs. The first subtopic is the 3 spectacular signs. Number 2, we're going to look at the 3 special angels. 3 special angels. Number 3, we're going to look at the Advent ambassadors in America. Advent ambassadors in America. Number 4, lastly, we're going to look at the Advent ambassadors in other countries. Advent ambassadors in other countries. Then we'll be done with section 2. Nishitasiza section 2. So make sure section 1 mwizi wa bwino mpitemo, you answer my questions amina pasiwa yaja. So section 2 is very simple. So let's begin with the first subtopic, which is saying 3 spectacular signs. Okay, so the 3 spectacular signs. Now, what are these spectacular signs, and what is the importance of a Seventh-day Adventist leader or any Seventh-day Adventist member to know these spectacular signs? These spectacular signs are just events connected to the second coming of Jesus Christ as predicted in Matthew 24, verse 29 and 30. And also in Revelation 66, verse 12 and 13. Okay? So, these signs, the first one was the Lisbon earthquake. Then the second one was the dark day. And the last one was the falling of stars. Now, when you look at the Lisbon earthquake was the first, and this took place in 1755. Then in 1780, 25 years later, the second happened as predicted with the dark day of May 1780. Okay, so this is the dark day. It happened on 19th May 1780. Just 25 years after the Lisbon earthquake. Now, the third sign given first occurred, so it occurred twice. First, it occurred on 30th November 1833 in the Western Hemisphere. Then, again, a few days later, on 25th of November, it took place in Europe. The falling of what? The falling of the stars of heaven. So these are the 3 spectacular signs. These are the signs, spectacular signs in the natural world, placed there by God to call people's attention to the truth, and He gave great impetus to the preaching of the Advent the Advent message. Now, pali amena aya tatu aya ma signs antikamba ma spectacular signs. Yalimo, when you read Matthew 24 and Revelation 6, when you read these verses closely, bantu uzapeza masigns. Then masogoleri ba time yameneyi during 1755 up to 1833, after wearing a Bible, they concluded that aya ni masaini yakuti Yesu Kristu alikubwera chifukwa anakamba Yesu Kristu Matthew 24 29 30. So masigns yose Matthew 24, when you read the whole chapter Matthew 24, ni masigns yakubwera kwa Yesu Kristu. Anakamba kuti mukaona hivi vachitika, just to know that the kingdom the kingdom of God is at what? Is at hand. Kubwera kwa mwana wa Mulungu kwayandikira. Okay? So manje leaders vanasa conclude kuti Yesu Kristu atabwanji, Yesu Kristu abwera manje. So vanambira ku preaching manje, kupunzisa vantu kuti otembenukani, because Yesu Kristu atabwanji, Yesu Kristu abwera. Okay? Ali kubwera. Now, nezinakamba kuma introduction nezinakamba kuti zangana vintu viri 4. Tizangana the 3 spectacular signs, then 3 special angels. So tentiende pa number 2 manje, pa 3 special angels. Now, our angels are very special. Our angels very special. Antikamba the special angels. Ndiye timakamba the 3 angels message. Okay? Yantipezeka mu Revelation 14 verse 6 to 11. So the first angel's message calls to give allegiance to God, the creator of the heavens and earth, and warns that the judgment hour has what? Has come. Okay? So meaning yakuti we just need to worship God and God alone. Allegiance should be given to God because he's the creator of the heaven and earth. Navonse. Okay? Then also uyumungeri wa first awarning abantu kuti judgment day astabwanji ibwera tembenukana. Okay? Repent because the judgment day is coming. So the first angel's message is calling attention or to give allegiance to God, and also warning men and women or everyone that the judgment hour has come. Now, number 2, or the second angel's message, it declares that the spiritual Babylon has what? The spiritual Babylon has fallen. Okay? Spiritual Babylon has fallen. Then number 3, which is the last angel, the third angel's message warns men and women living in the time of the remnant church against receiving the mark of the beast. Against receiving the mark of the beast. This is Revelation 14 verse 6 to 11. Now, remember when we looked at the last church, which is the church of the remnant. Nakamba kuti remnant church ungaziwe bwanji kuti ndiye remnant church. Ma characteristics tinayangana yonse. And one of the characteristics ni yakuti the church, the remnant church preaches the what? The 3 angels message. Okay? Then it also warns men and women against receiving the mark of the beast. And also it declares that spiritual Babylon has fallen. And also giving what? Allegiance to God. It calls people to give allegiance to God, and also that the hour of judgment has what? Has come. Okay? So these special angels ayali hapa ya tatu haya, ma 3 angels messages. Ndiye yamene yali na pa AY emblem. Aja tatu mangeli. That's why Yama youths ni yakuti the Advent message to all the world in my generation. Kubwera kwa Yesu. Now the Advent message which is there, it is the 3 angels message yamene preaching wa paja. Okay? It's the 3 angels message, that is the Advent message. Now, our manje ndi ma 3 special angels. Now, my fellow leaders, we've looked at one, which is the 3 spectacular signs, the Lisbon earthquake of 1755, Then there's the dark day of May 19, which took place 25 years after the Lisbon earthquake in 1780. Then the last spectacular sign inachitika mu 1833. So ututweve mu exam whether ufuna or sufuna mutu kumana mu machi. Okay, or whenever you're going to write the exam, muzaya kumana ma questions aya. No wonder my past papers is mankala available. Supposed to allow. When you read the manual, ya heritage, past papers are not allowed because they recycle my questions. That's the meaning of that. If you can't allow a person in my past papers, meaning you don't change the exam. Exam is the standard. You change my questions about change position. Question 1 with so. Otherwise, this is very simple. My questions are yafunika every youth afunika aziba ma 3 special angels. Makaona kastar kali hapa that asterisk. Kastar ka meaning akuti you need to master these 3 special angels. Mufunika mwaziba. Okay? Now, second last, tianga na Advent ambassadors in America. This is interesting. Advent ambassadors in America. Abo benzo preaching akubwera kwa Yesu Kristo kwa America kuja. Okay? Kumerika. Now, wa number 1 umetiza angana hapa ni William Miller. Do you remember in section 1 the Church of the Adventists, William Miller ndiye is the main character mu Church of the Adventists. Napana kamba kuti siza kamba maningi pali William Miller. Why? Because tizami angana bwino. Okay? So in fact William Miller timi angana 3 times mu section 1 under Church of the Adventists, in section 2 under ambassadors Advent ambassadors in America. Section 43 tizami angana pankania my great disappointment. Okay? Tizami angana also mu section what? Section 3. Now, William Miller anabadwa mu 1782 and anamwalira mu 1849. Okay? Just 5 years after the Great Disappointment. Okay? So meaning the Great Disappointment took place in 1844. Now, he was the most prominent preacher in America of the second coming of Christ. He was the oldest of a family of 16. He was a deist. Now, a deist is a muntu wamene akulupira muri mulungu kuti ndiye mulengi wa ziko la pansi ya kumwamba ya pansi na vose vamene vilipo pano. Ndiye deist. An atheist, on the other hand, ni mundu wanesa kulupira muri Yesu muri mulungu. Akamba kulibeve mulungu. Vintu vinavyo vinazilenga veka kuna mambo maatomu, life began in the sea, kabwera so ndiye hiyo manje ni Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Okay? So ndiye hii, but uwebezo kulupirira muri mulungu kuti mulungu ndiye mulengi. So William Miller studied the Bible for 15 years. No, he studied the Bible for 15 years. So uyu ni mundu wamene ezo ziwa vamene ezo chita ni mundu wenze na data pali Bible. And I studying from 1816 to 1831. Now 1831 debana Abraham manje his public ministry preaching amanje. 15 years I studying asabe Bible. Okay? Then inango point really very important in yakuti the Great Disappointment did not shake William Miller's faith. After vachitika paja sana shakinyike Okay? His public ministry ended in 1845, just 1 year after Great Disappointment. Then he died 4 years later. Okay? He died 4 years later. Okay, so analeka public ministry preaching public ministry mu 1845, then anamwalira mu 1849. 5 years later, just add 5 to 45 there, 1845 and Zankala 1849. Okay, now this is my best point out of all these. William Miller has rightly been called the morning star of the Advent movement. So when you are asked who was the morning star, called the morning star of the Advent movement, ni William Miller. The Herald of Reform, John Wycliffe, like we said in section what? Section 1. Okay, so don't be confused with such terminologies. Then, William Miller did not come to see the Sabbath truth. Okay? This Seventh-day Adventist church, no, the Sabbath truth, oh no, worshiping on the Sabbath, whatever. Sana bwera kuvuona ko William Miller. Evans of preaching sabepa kubwera kwa Yesu Kristo kwa chiviri. The second coming of Jesus Christ, the Advent message. Okay? So, this is just a summary of life ya ndani ya William Miller. Okay? He was what? Rightly, he has rightly been called the morning star of the Advent movement. Now, another important ambassador in America, Advent ambassador in America, ni Joshua V. Himes. I like this guy, this person. Now, this man was born in 1805 and he died in 1895. Now, Joshua V. Himes met William Miller in 1839. So just 8 years after William Miller and his public ministry. 8 years later, wakumana na Joshua V. Himes. Now, after wakumana, after his encounter with William Miller, he wrote, Joshua V. Himes, I laid myself, family, society, reputation, all upon that altar of God to help him to extend of my power to the end. All right? And then he point agarwak. Joshua V. Himes ndio amena namba publish the Signs of the Times at Boston in 1840, a year later after kumana na William Miller. 1840 at Boston they are namba publish the Signs of what? The Signs of Times. Hii ni point inayo wangondo funsa mu exam. Okay? So tayanganako pama Advent ambassadors in America, tayanganako William Miller, tayanganako Joshua V. Himes, tentiende manje kuli Josiah Leach. Josiah Leach, uyeve savuta we. He had become a Christian at the age of what? 17 nini njankala mu Kristo. He was one of the first ministers to accept and preach the Advent message. So this person is commonly known for this point here as one of the first ministers to preach, to accept and preach the Advent message. Okay, the coming of the Messiah. Now, when you look at Joshua V. Himes here, Joshua V. Himes point ya menelipo ikulu hapa ni yakuti Indiana published the Signs of the Times at Boston in 1840. Okay? Then second maybe point ya nunga tachana ni yakuti ndiye vanalemba kuti I laid myself, family, society, reputation all upon that altar of God to help him to the extent of my power. To the extent of my power to the end. Okay? So, that is Joshua V. Himes. Now, Josiah Leach, like I said, that he was one of the ministers to accept it and preach the Advent message. My favorite, this is my bestie, Charles Fitch. This ambassador was also from America. Why I like this person? Because he contributed, because of his talent, because of his prowess. He contributed to the movement, to the Advent movement in 4 ways. Number 1, he was a preacher. Number 2, he was a writer. Number 3, he was a songwriter. And he was also an artist. Okay? So, like I said, he was a preacher, And his central theme was, prepare to meet thy God. Okay? Prepare to meet thy God. This was his central theme. In almost every sermon, he used to say, prepare to meet thy God. Prepare to meet thy God. Of all the preachers in the movement, it was said of him, perhaps none was widely loved. Okay? None was widely loved. Number 2, writer. He published the widely circulated paper. Ndiyo amene published the Second Advent of Christ paper. Hymn writer ni wamene anaimba nyimbo amene tikamba kuti it's found in the Old Church Hymnal, listed as the hymn number 338. 338. The title is One Precious Boon, O Lord, I Seek. Okay, it is sung to the tune of Oxbridge by Lowell Mason. He was an artist, and he developed the prophetic charts of 1842, not 1844, 1842. Now, uyu muntu anaanza preaching about the second coming of Jesus Christ. The second coming of Jesus Christ, kuti no with William Miller na wanzake, no Yesu Kristo azabwera mu 1844 so anabapezeka anafa just few days, 8 days before day anemezoli ku preaching kuti Yesu Kristo azabwera in 1844. Anamwalira pa October 14, 8 days before 22 October 1844, the date he preached about so fervently. So eve anamwalira paja. Okay? So tayangana William Miller, Joshua V. Himes, Josiah Leach, and Charles Fitch. Now, kulivenanga wali importanti vanefunika mwaziba. Sinakambeko pali James White, Sylvester Bliss, and S.S. Snow, and vari very important apa. Chifuka ungaitaye. So, Sylvester Bliss timuziwira fchani vamene azivika tikambo studying ndiwo amene analemba biography ya William Miller, and tikamba memoirs of William Miller in 1853. Okay, 4 years after William Miller mwalira ndiye analemba biography ya William Miller, because ndizo kupezeka naye na information yonse enzeri nayo bwino pali William Miller. Then S.S. Snow ndiye wa main anasta determine kuti no, the close of the prophetic of the 2300 day prophecy was in what? In the fall of 1844. Ndiye wa main anasta declare date. Ndiye anasta determine date. So mfunika mwaziba William Miller si wa main anasta determine date kuti azabela so benze abantu benzo studying abonse pamozi. So S.S. Snow ndiye anasta determine that the date for the close of 2300 days of prophecy was in the fall of 1844. Then James White. James White, at the age of 21, he rode horseback for his evangelic campaign one winter and reported back to the leaders more than 1,000 converts in 3 months of preaching. These are big machines. In just 3 months, over 1,000 converts watembenuka pakupreachinga kwa James White. Pamenenzeri na mwezi yangati 21 years. So mukayangana, these are not my years yama elders amitima sanka kuti ni wa elder chite above 35 years. Okay? Wachikulire wa mpingo. Aba ni ma youths. Tikakonga mshemusha church heritage bambiri aba ni ma youths. Okay? Tikangana Martin Luther, not Martin Luther the King, Martin Luther the Reformer. He was an accomplished scholar. Pamenenzeri mfana. Okay? Pamenenzeri mfana. tikayangana Adventist Youth Ministries yatu AY vanayamba ni vaviri wafana so palibe excuse hapa. Church of the Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist Church ni church ya mayouths, okay, yamene ifunika kusta invest mukupunzisa mayouths, okay, because ndiye ma future leaders. In fact, not future leaders, ndiye ma current leaders. Don't believe that you are a future leader because you have a different mentality. I mean, mentality jainango to, oh no, my future so I'm a future leader, meaning you not do much on currently. So you are a present leader, not a future leader. Let's hope we are together on this point. Okay? Now, we are done with the three. We are now going to the final, which is the fourth subtopic. We've looked at the three spectacular signs, the three special angels, and Advent ambassadors in America. Now, if you remember very well, I said that the fourth subtopic is what? Advent ambassadors in other countries. Siwako America beka wanizo preaching kubwera kwa Yesu Kristo. Nabo bakwinwa countries kwinango tifunika tawazi wa bwino. So bafunsa Advent ambassadors, at which one of the following is not an Advent ambassador in America? Wadakupasa choices. So ni bwino wawazi wakuti no, awene Josiah Lichi, Joshua V. Hims, Charles Fitch, William Miller, James White, S.S. Snow, Sylvester Bliss, wawewe ndenzeli bako America. Wamentifo kama po manje ni baku nakuma countries kwinango. Okay? Nakuma countries kwinango. And wali very special. Very, very special. Now, let's start with the first one. Joseph Hoof. Joseph Hoof are very special. I like this guy because of his talent. He was really gifted. Munduenzo kamba 14 languages fluently. Joseph Hoof, he was known as the missionary to the world. To the world. Chifukwa enzo kamba 14 languages, and notukwa kamba babaika ati ukamba chivemba cha Chitonga, chivemba cha Chinyanja, chivemba cha kuti ndemu faya uyu mukashana. Not just so. This Joseph Hoof mezeri bamuna fluently kukamba Chinese azakamba phemushe, Portuguese bwino, Chizungu kabot. Okay? Joseph Hoof. Now, the other important info that you need to know about Joseph Hoof was that he was beaten, starved, and sold into slavery. Three times he received the death penalty. Through it all, he carried his Bible and warned people of the coming of the coming reign of the Messiah, who is Jesus Christ. Okay, so that's all about Joseph Hoof, missionary to the world, and he was able to speak 14 languages. And what? He wasn't an Advent ambassador in America, no, but he in other countries. Now, let's look at the second ambassador in other countries, which is Johann A. Bengel. Now, Johann A. Bengel, he taught the second coming in German before Hoof or William Miller. Okay, this is interesting. At the same time, the message of the second coming of Jesus Christ is being preached in America. Now, ku other side in Europe and other countries, we're preaching same message. But abantu wenzo zibana. So it tells you mamene mulungu asebenzera mpamvu za mulungu. So he taught the second coming in German before Hoof or Miller. This was Johann A. Bengel. During the first two decades of the 1700s, That's when he taught the second coming of Jesus Christ in German. Now, he believed in religious liberty, and he trained young men for the ministry. Okay? However, his greatest influence was felt through his books. Okay? Through his books about the second advent. So this person is known for is the one who believed in religious liberty, and also he taught the second coming before Joseph Wolf, or also on the William Miller. Then let's go to Edward Irving. Edward Irving, I like this guy. This ambassador. Yeah, let me not use the term guy. I'm using the term guy so that you understand. Okay, you understand. I don't want to sound serious in this course, because okay, so Ivan preached the second advent and had its fullest development in Guati and its fullest development in Great Britain. Uyu muntu chamene zoziwikira nchakuti anali shorty, anali kafupi, about 95 centimeters. Tumarula tumasevenzesa kupimira tumarula 30 centimeters tuja tutatu chabe, so tutatu na 5 centimeters kwa mwamba. So muntu anali mfupi. Okay, but kufupika kwake sikuramste hinda ku preaching a gospel. Okay, so he was eloquent, and his eloquence attracted the upper classes, including the prime minister. So tilibe ma excuses atawe ine chani ine ivitiwaona bonse bantu aba. Ivan anali mfupi koma enali gifted. Gift yake inamulengesa kuti manje akamba na ma ministers na ma upper classes ngati. So na ife tingasebenzisa ma gift yatu to the preaching of the gospel. Okay, so that is Edward Irving. Henry Drummond was an English banker and a member of parliament. He devoted his life to Christian service. Okay, he arranged a series of 5 annual prophetic conferences. Now, what you should know about Henry Drummond is that he was an English banker and a member of what? A member of parliament. That's what is special. That's what's special about Henry Drummond. Okay, siyavuta abantu kwaziba apa so baoneka munga nivokosa munga nivovuta kuziba because ndika first kuvimverapo to some of you. Okay, now to some of you. Robert Winter. Let's look at Robert Winter. Robert Winter, he had the doctrine of the second advent while attending a camp meeting during a visit to America. Pamene to attend camp meeting ndipo anamvera utenga wakutuka kubwera kwa Yesu Kristo. Then in 1842 anabwera ku England kwamene anayamba manje ku preaching anaeve pakubwera kwa Yesu Kristo kwa chiviri. Okay, uyu ni Robert Winter pamene anamvera doctrine of the second advent pamene anali ku attend camp meeting ku America kuja. My favorite, okay, I like this person, Manuel de la Cunza. Manuel de la Cunza was exiled in Spain and Italy. Okay, wanapisha kuja ndiye safuniko pezeka kuja Spain, kunkhala ku Spain na ku Italy kuja konse wapisha. His study resulted in the writing of the book The Coming of the Messiah in Glory and Majesty. So akufusa kuti ni ndani analemba the book entitled The Coming of the Messiah in Glory and Majesty. Huyu we no other than Manuel de la Cunza. Are we together? Okay, So we have another Advent ambassador in another country, which is H. Hans Peter. H. Hans Peter, he was the keeper of a royal museum in Holland. H. Hans Peter was given a vision of Christ's soon return. He spoke of it using the Bible text to prove his point. Then he wrote several pamphlets from about 1830 to 1842 in which he explained the light he had received. He first heard of William Miller 12 years after he began to publish. Okay? Louis Gaussen. I like the strategy Louis Gaussen. Louis Gaussen came up with a plan of teaching children, which was first used by William Farel, so that adults would have no excuse if children managed to grasp the lessons. Okay? He was expelled from the church for instructing the youth using the Bible instead of catechism. Okay? Vanampisha mchechi pokupunzisa mayouth kusensa Bible instead of buku yandita natika catechism. Okay? This book is announcing this our friends ba Catholic. Okay? Ndiye book yanawasebenzesa. So, just a recap. We've looked at the three spectacular. So we have looked at 4 lessons and 4 subtopics under section 2. We've looked at the 3 spectacular signs, the 3 special angels, then the Advent ambassadors in America, and Advent ambassadors in other countries. Okay, under spectacular signs, we've looked at the Lisbon earthquake of 1755. We've also looked at the dark day of May 19. We've also looked at the falling of what? The falling of stars of heaven. Then the 3 special angels, we've looked at, those are the 3 angels' messages. The first angel, which he calls to give allegiance to God, and also warning that the hour of judgment has come. Then the second angel, where Nyakuti spiritual Babylon has fallen. The third angel, Niwakuti warning abamuna na zikazi wanakala mutaye muyama malizo kutiwa sa kale wasa receive mark of the beast. Then Advent ambassadors in America, tanganako pali William Miller, Josiah Lichi, tanganako also Joshua V. Himes, when Charles Fitch, okay, S.S. Snow, all right, Sylvester Bliss, and also James White. Then under Advent ambassadors in other countries, tanganako when Louis Gaussen, Manuel de la Cunza, Joseph Wolf, okay, na venango wamenitangana. Okay, so ndi mantangana bonse baja work is ascending, so make sure to answer the work. That's the only way, because that's the only way muzatandiziwa kuti muizibe, because my question yatoka pa topic pa section yon section 2 yonse ma questions ya pa section 2 yazambo funsiwa pada. So the more mzambo kuyayanka, the more mzambo kuzia kasi question wanga ifunse ngepa meni muza masaringika na mutu. Okay, so next lesson tizaka ngayo section 3 ni the birth of the remnant church. The birth of the remnant church. Okay, you see tizaka ngayo na second angel's message 40. All right, so the birth of remnant church, and also nkani the great disappointment tizayanga napo hapa. All right, so ndiye nkani. All the best in your studies, my fellow leaders.